What's going on, everybody? It's the YOUR OVERWATCH crew, and here today we're going to have a discussion video about, hopefully, the death of the triple tank meta. A big patch got dropped on the PTR, and we're hoping that it does a few things, go live immediately, basically, but also fix some of the concerns we have with the game currently. So, where do we want to start this off discussing the triple tank stuff?
Go straight in with the Ana nerf that I think is actually one of the weaker parts of the triple tank thing, but we'll get to that. Ana's 50% less healing after she nades someone. So when Roadhog heals himself after being naded, he only gets 450 HP in a split second now instead of 600. So, I mean, that from that angle of things, I'm not sure the Ana nerf's a big one, but I think they're just trying to be careful with what they're doing with these nerfs. The same with the buff to Sombra, right? They're just trying to make sure that they don't do too much in one go. I would predict that the Ana thing may not be enough.
But let's be honest, no one's going to be playing Roadhog because unless you can hook someone through the universe, what's the point of playing him? So there's quite a few nerfs in conjunction that could lead to the death of triple tank, and a lot of people, I think, misconstrue triple tank as just run Ana and she can heal everything, whereas actually the whole point of running the triple tank to a large extent revolves around Roadhog, and when he gets nerfed or when his hook gets nerfed, I think that's going to change as much as Ana's nerf does. So it'd be interesting to see, but I know that the three of us on this channel are kind of looking forward to that point, so you guys weigh in on this.
I mean, for me, it's the thing that we were probably supposed to speak about a bit later in the video, but I'm going straight into it, and that is the whole triple tank idea, especially within matchmaking, because the whole idea of this triple tank thing is sent down from the holy pros who know what they're doing at the game, and it centers around really Roadhog getting picks to get a hook, to hook someone in to kill them. So with him being nerfed, that's a big difference, and just them passing down the knowledge of him not being good anymore might be enough to change the meta. Now, the misconception that we see in the community in games is that people are running triple tank without a Roadhog, and in that situation, that's actually a bad thing. You'd be better off running 2-2-2 if you're not going to run the Roadhog. If you're running like Zarya, D.Va, and Ryan, for example, that's nowhere near as good. You'd be better off swapping out the Zarya for the Roadhog most of the time. That's how the pros play it in just about all situations, and that's what gets passed down. But the problem is, as it gets passed down, people misunderstand things and don't realize. So many games at the minute on live, people are just like triple tank, and you end up with a terrible triple tank combination. So for me, I think with Roadhog having significant changes, and a lot of people I've heard are really complaining about it. Now, I don't think we've done enough testing really to say if it's going to be amazing or terrible from either end of it. I just think that it may change the meta completely if he isn't an instant pick anymore.
Well, what I'm really hoping is that it doesn't define the meta as in it's the strongest thing easily to do. I still think it will probably be runnable, but to your point, I want to dissect into this idea, because one thing that really intrigues me about Overwatch is how a few pieces different in a team comp has a domino effect into how that team comp plays. So if you have multi-tank without a Roadhog, yeah, your team can be amazing at staying alive and sustaining a fight, but it's difficult to get damage where you need it to be, and that's the beauty of Roadhog right now. So theoretically, if I was to just break down the components of how to play multi-tank well right now, it's Roadhog hook anything, anti-nade it, and then focus fire that. That's how the pros play it, and if you don't have that Roadhog getting value right now, and you probably find this a lot in matchmaking, especially if you have a multi-tank comp without a Roadhog, everyone just sort of stands there, just spamming damage to the other direction and healing it back up, and nothing ever dies. And there's no like decisive play being made, and that's something Roadhog will always be able to do. Even if he can't hook you around the corner, I think, he can still play that, win the Rhine Shield battle, break the Rhine Shield, hook something in front, and pull it towards you. That crowd control and initiation all in one is very important. And I think in a more tank-heavy playstyle, maybe we might start to see Mei in there again, who was seeing play for a while at the pro level, kind of fallen off a bit, but something that can set up a way to get a kill. Because if you don't have damage being worth anything, then you have to have like Rhine pins and Rodot hooks and Mei walls and stuff to establish the battlefield in order to kill stuff. And anyway, that's a real wonky way to play the game. Honestly, I kind of like the way where like the skilled positions go out, fight something, and then there's a winner or loser instead of this infinite healing meta. And I think we're headed towards that after this change.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've even discovered recently, and I'm going to do a video on this specifically, but there's this dive comp, right? The dive comp doesn't really get run that much anymore, especially in matchmaking. I mean, oh my god, when I join a game and someone just says, let's play a dive comp, I'm like, yes, play Winston and D.Va. I don't care if it's not meta, it's so much fun. And we went in, and we've been doing a lot of solo queuing, a lot of six stacking, mixing it up this season, a lot more than we have before. Like 1 month we did a lot of six stack, then we did a lot of solo queue, and now we try and mix it up, and we get to around the Masters level on both. And when we run in the six stack and we run a dive comp, it is actually very viable, and people don't know what to do because they're thinking, oh, everyone picked tanks is triple tank meta. Meanwhile, we're coming in with two flankers. We don't even have an Ana, and they don't know how to deal with that because, as FREEDO said, they probably don't have a road or he isn't getting the value, and they're just stood there and they can't move. Meanwhile, we've got Winston, D.Va, Genji, Tracer diving everything, and it's discorded, and it's this beautiful mess of gameplay, and there's just loads going on rather than this horrible poke at the choke meta. So from my point of view, I'm thinking if we've been able to implement that in this current meta where everyone thinks triple tanks are great all the time, then when people think they're not great, I'm hoping that we'll see a much more fluid version of Overwatch.
My biggest thought, just to bring it back to Ana, my biggest thought about it is that support should be a category in which you're looking to obviously do healing unless you're Symmetra, but we'll move on to that at another time. But you're looking to do healing for your team, obviously, but then you're choosing an edge, right? There's various edges that the supports can create. So one of Ana's biggest edges, and why she'll still be very, very good even after her grenade nerf, is using the nade as an anti-heal. So you're setting up people so that they cannot heal and run away, so that you can collapse on teams like or individual problem people in a similar way to the way that Discord works, right? You're trying to create an offensive edge. Lucio has speed as his offensive edge, so you can move a death pool into position and completely overwhelm people, and Mercy has damage amp as well. So the support options there's going to be an interchange of what edges you want to play with, and I think Ana's still going to be very much in the mix after her nerf. I have to say my personal feelings about triple tank, or what I call health pool comps, where there's just so much healing and so much health that quite a lot of the damage heroes feel quite inadequate to get through that, unless you take Discord, and then if you're not taking Lucio, then you're at a disadvantage, and if you don't take Ana, you're at a disadvantage. So I feel at the moment it's not quite where it needs to be, but hopefully when those changes go live, we'll see a lot more of that support interplay and decision making come into the game, because the main problem I have with triple tank and Ana being amazing and her biotic nade being so good is that it kind of makes the more skilled damage heroes a little bit irrelevant. So Soldier has been a lot of people's DPS of choice throughout this entire time, and I'm sure all three of us on the channel would prefer if the more skilled heroes were a little bit more prominent. I do think that Soldier has his place in the game, but I think that Soldier is indisputably better than McCree for how the game plays right now on live. So for triple tank, McCree isn't that great.
I mean, unless you're hitting all your shots, right? I mean, I played him yesterday, and I'm not that great with him, but I played him really well for a game, and everything died. I mean, he is really good. It's just Soldier's way easier for most people to just shoot things and do loads of damage to shields and stuff.
I mean, there's loads of different circumstances where any result can happen. You can win off meta, like we say on the channel all the time, but I would consider McCree off meta, actually. I would.
Yeah, he is.
Whereas I would prefer a meta where he's actually, he's one of the hardest characters to play well because he's very vulnerable and he requires precision and real mechanical skill, and that's just too hard in comparison with what's easier to do and more effective, which is Soldier at the moment.
I mean, that's something we've always done on this channel, though. We've always advocated for skill to be the best thing, right? Balancing the game from the top down is always the best way to do it. And back to the point about Ana, and it may not be a super popular opinion, and this is the issue with the matchmaking system, right? There's loads of different ranks. Ana is a skill hero, and at lower ranks, people don't always get the value out of her. They struggle with her. So there's a lot of people saying she doesn't need to be nerfed because they simply just don't realize the potential that she has. So there's this mixture of things. So we don't want Ana to be nerfed. 50%'s crazy. She does nowhere near as much healing after the nade now. But the thing is, if you just don't even look at how good her nade is in every situation, or how good her burst healing is on one target, or the damage she can do, or nano boost, Sleep Dart on its own, one ability, which you get every 10 seconds, can win a team fight outright. That one ability on its own is incredible on people that can play it really well. I know that FREEDO is very good with Ana and a guy we play with called Larry, and if they sleep the right target at the start of a team fight, that's it. That's the win. They don't even need to heal really from there. We could just have Lucio on heal, because if we sleep the Rhine and pin him and he's dead, you win. And I don't think people realise just how powerful that thing is. It's like a Roadhog hook almost, because if you focus it, it's dead. It's on the floor, it's asleep, it's game over. And I think that's why we think she needs a nerf, because we realise that, and I know a lot of people do too, and YouTubers do, but some other people just don't have that same grasp of how good that is, I think. And it's just very hard to balance her for everybody. And that's the issue that I think they're trying not to do. They're trying not to over-nerf her because they want her to be used everywhere, the same way that Sombra has only been buffed slightly because they want to get her in the right place, but they don't want to just be like, she can hack through barriers in a split second. You know, they're trying to do it gradually, and I think that's what they're trying to do with Ana too.
Here's the thing. I would argue that even if her biotic nade buff to healing was 20%, I would still say, well, it does do that, but then if you just reorganize your way of looking at that ability, and even if it had no healing, it's still a really effective anti-heal grenade.
The only anti-heal in the game, and it's really powerful and can hit the whole team.
Is an amazing ability, and is something that can win a team fight. So if she's got the sleep, which is a projectile and hard to hit and can be woken up and all those kind of extenuating circumstances, but it has the capability to completely disable a problem target, and her grenade can just stop a Roadhog from running away and healing and self-sustaining, or stop a Mei from healing inside of her cocoon, or, you know, it can do all of these things that if you just look at it a different way and go, all right, we'll take the healing away from the grenade, it's still good as far as I'm concerned. And I don't think she's going to be left in a bad place. I think she's still going to be viable. I think she's still going to be very, very good.
I think she might get to a place where maybe, like, it's kind of like Lucio, right? Lucio, people say people keep nerfing him and we can't use him anymore. But the thing is, speed boost is super powerful if used correctly, and it always has been. And Lucio will always be a meta pick until he doesn't have speed boost. And Ana's kit is also uniquely amazing, and I think that no matter how much they nerf her, unless it is a massive nerf, she will always be usable. And I think that maybe they can get at least to a place where you can decide if you want to run Lucio Zen or Lucio Ana or Ana Zen on defense. I still don't think on attack or King of the Hill you can really drop Lucio. I think that they're just trying to get to that place where the healers are all usable. And Mercy, I don't know what's going to happen with her, because she just sees like no use at any level of play above like Diamond, really.
I think she's still good with Farah.
She is, yeah, and I want to see her used more. Definitely. She just doesn't get used. I mean, we played a team the other day, and you're 5v6. You're 5v6 if your Mercy does not get reses. That it's as simple as that. Her healing isn't good enough, or her damage boost isn't good enough either to justify the pick if you don't get money reses. And because everything's got so much HP as well, like if you lose heavily in a fight, and your whole team go down and you res them, and all the enemy team have now been animated and healed themselves, it's only an even fight again. Whereas before, you could just get a good tempo res in and it was always good, or you could res the whole team and then wipe and it was very effective. Whereas now, I just never see that value anymore. I just don't.
That's a good point. You're always resing into them being full health.
That's really what's thrown it off, is, you know, you res into wounded opponents that have just won a team fight, or tempo res. You're going to win. You should win. You should be able to frag out from there. But I mean, it's crazy how quick. Like, I think people will look back at this phase of the game and see how quickly, like, Roadhog could heal himself, or Diva could be healed with a grenade and a couple of shots from, like, 7 HP to 600, in less than a second is that. And here's the thing about burst healing. Here's the thing about the grenades. I made this point privately, but I'll say it here. In all other aspects of the game, or in most of them, when something's burst, so say burst damage, it's usually tied to precision or skill to execute, right? It's not spray, it's not AoE, it's not like that. It requires precision. But Ana's grenade is like burst healing in an AoE. And yeah, you have to heal them after, or Lucio can just use his AoE healing. So it's like burst potential healing in a very general area effect. And I think that's an indicator that something might not be quite right with that. I mean, I still maintain even if it didn't have any healing, you could use it for its anti-heal and it would still be good. But obviously for Ana players, I don't want to ruin their time completely. I don't want to ruin anyone's time, actually, when talking about the game.
Do we need to say we love Ana? I mean, I thought that would go without saying, but people do misunderstand sometimes. We love the hero. She's great. Her utility is great. She's just really, really good. Like, really good, more than a lot of people realize. I think that's the thing. Is her anti-heal is so good. Just like, the whole team can be anti-healed. This happens. Whole team gets anti-healed. Ryan pins in and everything dies. From like no ults even needed. Just a couple of abilities. It's super strong.
It's awesome. I like being that Ana. But anyway. One last point I want to make about Ana. To sort of put in scope of something being out of order. Because the timeline of Ana is a bit tricky for me, and I think I'm in disagreement with a lot of people on this. A lot of people say, well, the community learned how to play her, and that made her overpowered. I stand by that Discord was incredibly insane for a while, which made Ana look unpickable because the Discord was so good and out of order.
And it was a better world.
And he maintains that. And when Discord was put into a more reasonable position than the aspects of Ana that were insane and then buffed over time as well, became main stage. So I think the state of the amp healing situation feels as overwhelming as Discord used to. Whereas you put Discord in something, it used to just like you looked at it and sneezed and it would die. Whereas now, if you don't somehow get that target to 0 HP, you might as well assume that it will get 100 HP, 100% HP in no time at all. And that's where I place it. And I would like to see her kit re-engineered so the game made more sense, especially if you haven't played like the other seasons of Overwatch or forget maybe, because I think I might have even forgotten. But it wasn't normal to have your healer bail out a character at every given opportunity, right? It's not normal to be like, oh, amp heal on the Rhine, you can now fight forever. Like, that's not how the game should play. Like, there's a sort of ebb and flow in the state of your expectations of how the fight goes. Whereas now it's like Ana could be miles away, the tank's in front, and they fight forever until something's antied, basically, which I don't think is how most people would prefer to play the game, actually. And I assume we're all on the same page with that.
I mean, when I say it was a better world with Zen, I'm obviously joking. I don't want people to think that I thought it was totally okay. I didn't.
I think it was better than this, at least. When everything's dying compared to everything never dying, I think that is better, ultimately.
Well, you can make more plays, you know.
Right. I would like the world where things just kind of made sense and they were in their own place. Whereas that's where we have Zen now. That's where I want to get Ana and the triple tank thing. I think triple tank will still be good after these changes. You'll still have to play it in that same way. Because, like, let's be honest right now. 100%, 50%. This is something I forgot to say. The big part about the nade, too, that people don't mention is that the part of the burst healing is inherent in the nade. It gives you 100 health to that big wide arrow. So everything's healed. Now everything's amp healed. And those combinations, that's the burst. It's like that time period where you can nade, hit a shot, and soldier lays down his health or whatever, and everything's getting heal amped in that, like everything would just snowball the healing upwards. And that's the out of order part. Even if, like I said, even if it was 20%, 25%, it still would be pretty good. So it's a step in the right direction. I don't think it's removing it from the game, though. So you still better understand how triple tank works and how to beat it, because people will still be able to run it, I guarantee you.
I agree with you. I think people will still be able to run it. It'll be interesting to see, like, if they adjust anything else. What will happen to Soldier? What will happen to other DPS heroes? Especially we forgot. There's a Diva minor nerf where it used to be 200 health, 400 armor. Now it's 400 health, 200 armor. In the PTR, so
can I just say that I don't think that makes any difference? And she got like a slight kind of nerf at a slight longer range to her damage too. Like, it doesn't mean that Soldier just wins against her. People are very scared about a very minor tweak there, I think. But I do think that I'd like to see the meta change, and I really want Soldier to drop down. Now, a lot of people's argument to that is, well, do you want him where he was before? And my answer is yes. Some people can play him if you're not as good at McCree. McCree Soldier was still good sometimes if Pharah was strong. And it's nice to have skill shots be the thing. I personally do have a bit of a grudge against Soldier right now, so maybe I'm not the right person to talk about this subject. But back to what I said earlier, I just want to see a more fluid game. I want picks to mean things and have reasons for taking them other than, well, that's meta, so we're going Soldier again. I just want to see more Genjis. I know some of you are going to hate me say that, but I want to see more Genjis, and I want to see more McCrees in particular. I'd love to see these great shots people are hitting. Even a Hanzo. I just don't want to see every game we get into be, right, well, we have a Diva, we have a Hog, we have a Rhine, we have 2 healers, let's go Soldier. I really want to see something different. I don't want to see Soldier out of the game. I want to see him as an alternate pick, and the same with Ana. And I think Blizzard do a really good job trying to balance this stuff, and they're getting more and more careful as they go along and not doing too much in one go, and that's great. I really want to see different metas work at the same time, different compositions, and people flex picking mid-game even to counter what the enemy team are doing, not just mirroring it. And I know we've said that before. We've said that definitely in one of these discussions before. I don't want to see mirroring be the answer to everything. It'd be good to have counter picks and different DPS heroes played and stuff. And that's what I'm looking forward to, hopefully.
Something that I forgot about the amp heal, right? What I think something you don't remember, right, is like when your team is ready to reheal and you put up your Rhine shield and you drop that on a nade, when you didn't need that amp healing. 100% amp healing is so strong, a lot of the time it's not even required, right? Where it starts to be insane, and where I still think it might be, is in those duels scenarios where a player is fighting, has amp on them, Ana's healing them, and then that duel could just never be won because you physically can't out-damage that healing. It's not even possible by most heroes' capabilities. That's one aspect of it that I think I'm a little bit scared to understand how it works, actually, because I don't know if 50% is enough or not. Well, I guess we'll have to figure out.
But the thing is, if we do get to a place with a few of these nerfs where some people do pick McCree and different DPS and ones that are harder to hit, then Ana becomes less viable all the time, right? So you might see more Lucio Zen, and that's what I just want more Lucio Zen.
It's a very interesting
fun.
Point, because
I love it.
That's something that we realized too with Ana players that you might run into. If they're used to just playing with tanks, you may not remember how difficult it is to play Ana in like a 2-2-2, or especially if you have like Winston as a tank or whatever. Something that...
Or heal a Genji,
healing a Genji midair is like a nightmare. Sometimes I could do it, but it's not very easy, actually. It's much easier to just heal that big, meaty, bacony Roadhog who's standing still, right? That's much easier to heal. So I'd like to see that world too. In a world where just like the compositions have to be a little skinnier on the more nimble side, Ana naturally is just harder to play as well.
Yeah, whereas Zen can just go Discord, and Discord is pretty good at healing really on one target. I've got to hit these shots. No, he's swift struck. No, he's gone over there. It's Harmony. Sorry. Yeah, it's just zipping through the sky. Oh, he's swift struck again. Oh, he's killed someone who's on the other side of the map. I can't heal him. People do struggle with that. And again, it brings back what I said earlier about Ana and just her always going to be in a weird place depending on how good or bad she is at the different levels of play, because she is hard to use to a lot of people. She is.
Triple tank? Do we want to put up a gravestone on this, maybe? Here lies triple tank.
It deserves an unmarked grave somewhere where no one ever goes or visits.
I don't think that we're going. It is RIP. No, I don't know. I don't know about that. I just think that we're going to see less of it. And at least I hope. I hope is the word. I mean, we know that you can play without triple tank, but we know we also got away with that because the enemy team don't know how to play triple tank. So hopefully the pros will send down some messages that something else is better, just so we can try something else out for a change. I think that'd be fun. And Doomfist, anyone? Doomfist? That'd be good. New hero. Change things up. Mix it up a little bit. That's what I think.
All right, guys. Well, if you enjoyed the discussion video, please hit the like button. If you have thoughts of your own, we'd love to hear them. Put it in the comment section below. Check out the links in the description for our Twitter, Twitch streams, Discord server. Be sure to like the video if you haven't already. It really does help us out. And subscribe for more. We upload each and every day. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. It's been all three of us from the Your Overwatch crew.
Bye.